Mr. Reed, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And before I get into my comments, I want to just start on a positive note. I was proud to be part of the effort, and I thank you and your team for the efforts done on tax reform, because I think tax reform is going to lead to huge amounts of opportunity across the country, and that is a cornerstone to getting our fiscal house in order to have growth, to have private sector job creation, to create new wealth, and I think that is a major part of the solution. But I do have to agree with my colleague from Wisconsin on the other side of the aisle. I am afraid. I ran for Congress in 2010 on the issue of the debt crisis, on the issue of the national debt becoming too large to be sustainable for the future of America. And after last week, and after much soul-searching, I've come to the conclusion, and I'll be the first one to say it publicly here on this committee for the first time, that I believe the debt crisis is now upon us, that this is the day of reckoning. It is not tomorrow, but we are starting to see that debt crisis explode as we speak. And I would ask you and the administration to make sure that if we're going through this debt crisis, that we have policies proactively to try to mitigate the impact of that crisis as we speak. Because as has been indicated, if interest rates go up, and we know they're going to go up, the magnitude of the debt service, I don't think the American people can appreciate. You know, I've done some rough calculations, and just going up to 3.6% of debt service obligations on an interest rate is about an extra $520 billion a year just to pay interest. And people can relate to that when you talk to them about their credit cards, when you talk to them about their mortgage payments back home. And if you told them that you had to come up with $520 billion of additional interest payments, they would then ask the question, well, where are you going to get that money? And then you put that in perspective of where we spend money across the budget. We spend $840 billion on Social Security. Defense, we're going to spend about $700 billion. If interest rates go up to 6.83%, this is what I asked a panel of economists about 2 years ago when I started to try to be the canary in the coal mine to say this is happening, this will happen if we don't get our fiscal house in order. 6.83%, you're at about $1 trillion for additional interest payments. I don't know how we sustain that. And you're a very smart man, Mr. Treasury Secretary. How do you sustain that type of debt load and keep America strong and vibrant going forward?
Well, I think, first of all, the President shares your concern that the debt has gone from $10 trillion to $20 trillion over the last 8 years, and these are issues we need to look at, and we look forward to working with you.
I appreciate that. I look forward to working with you. It's imperative we get this in order.